I mean, where the fuck should I really even start? I got hoes that I'm keeping in the dark. I got my niggas cross the street living large. Thinking back to the fact that they dead, thought my raps wasn't facts, so they sat.
What is up, YouTube? This is my first video back in quite a while, and it's gonna be a good one. I'm gonna take you through a Sunday night in my life as a 19-year-old generating $700,000 to $1 million per year online, and show you exactly how I'm wrapping the year up and planning next year to get the most out of it and scale to over $2.5 million in cash collected. So what I'm doing right now is cleaning up some dashboards. I can't show you too much because there is some sensitive client info, but cleaning up dashboards, getting our tracking sheets in order for next year, planning out big projects that need to happen, what revenue targets are. And this is ultimately super, super important. I've realized the further along that I've got, the more power I've realized is in data tracking and knowing your numbers. Because once you know that you put $1 in and over the lifetime of a client being with you, you get paid $12 back out, you can scale that equation and maybe lose money or break even in the first 30 days, but know that you're gonna make so much more over the long term. So putting together good tracking dashboards, super important. It's one of the things I'm getting done right now and cleaning up our existing data to go strong into next year. I'm gonna show you in this video exactly what my planning process has looked like. I've built out our 10-year vision, updated a 5-year target, 3-year plan, 1-year plan for this first quarter, plan for the month, and I will be planning the week shortly before it starts to hit the new year strong. But like I said, it has been a long time since I filmed one of these videos and a lot has changed. So my last video, I was in a house in Austin. I went from Chicago to Miami to Austin, was in a skyrise in both Chicago and Miami. Thought I was gonna like a house as a change of scenery. That was not the case. A high rise is definitely better for me, what I enjoy in my lifestyle right now. So I've moved back into one. Fun fact, this year I spent almost $20,000 canceling leases, which is one of my New Year's resolutions, not to cancel a single lease in 2026, because I could have paid for a supercar if I had not been canceling so many leases. I could have spent basically $1,700 a month on a McLaren or a Lamborghini Huracan, but instead I was canceling leases. So that is my New Year's resolution. With that said though, I do want to show you around the new Austin apartment. So one thing that I've recently started using a lot of is candles. They smell good, they help me focus for whatever reason, so I've been using them. Now it is quite dark, so let's see if I can turn a light on. This is the entryway to the new apartment right here. We've got this little island, which is a must for me. My apartment in Chicago had one, Miami did not. I will tell you guys right now, get an island, pay the extra money, it is worth it. You've got the 2 bar stools. The pictures, if any of you guys are OGs and you watched me in Chicago, you know I had these up there. I did not have them up in Miami. And then a bunch of little decoration along the counter, nice modern finishes, brand new appliances, of course, as is pretty standard with a nice building. And this is my favorite part. So it's a 1-bedroom, and this almost separates the office area from the living room area, which is amazing. And then we've got this view of the kitchen as well. I also love how it kind of looks like a corner unit from right here because of the balcony that we've got, but same little setup for the living room that we had in the house. And if we come out onto the balcony, you can see the view. This is honestly by far the worst view of any of my apartments, but it's Austin. It's a tiny skyline, so you can't expect too much from that. And this is actually the second most rent that I paid. The most rent was $3,500 a month for the house in Austin. This is about $3,300 a month after parking and all of that. And then we've got the whiteboard over here, some clients to launch. I love this setup. This is by far my favorite little office setup so far. We've got the best chair. I tried a different chair in Miami, hated it. This is the Steelcase Leap V2. If any of you guys are having trouble locking in, this chair right here is worth the investment. I don't know how much it cost. I got this used, to be honest. It was like, I think $500. Super, super worth it. Brand new, it's like $2K. Would not recommend spending that much money on a chair. But the used one is great as well. And you've got the light bar, the plants. Love the plants. I really feel like they add to this quite well. And then one monitor, one laptop. I transitioned to a laptop somewhat recently and definitely recommend it. Kindle on the desk as well. Simple little setup. And then we've got a view. It's the Capitol over there, right above the workstation. Now the bedroom is separated by this little sliding door. Very basic setup in here. We've got a bed. There's no nightstands, nothing like that. I ordered 2 nightstands from Amazon and threw them away because they were too hard to set up. Then we've got the closet. Again, nothing too fancy in here. Not much of a fashion person. And one of the best parts is this big bathroom that we've got. Modern little shower accents, nice cave in the wall to hold the stuff, which is nice. In Miami, I did not have something like that. So I had to get like this thing from Target to hold everything. We've got the mirror right here. This is a huge double vanity. It doesn't really come across that big on camera for some reason, but it is very big in person. And then this huge mirror as well. So that's the new apartment. With that said though, I'm about to lock back in on some work. I'm gonna show you guys after I get some more stuff done what the what the goal planning looks like that I personally did so that you can do the same thing to achieve your goals and get to a 7-figure per year run rate in your business in 2026. With that said though, I'm gonna lock in again. I'll film some stuff on the goal planning sheets after, and then we're gonna take the car for a drive, get some dinner, and finish the night up. Okay, just finished getting pretty much every dashboard that I will need next year set up. Now I'm gonna go ahead and show you exactly what all of this looks like so that you can do a similar thing. So we have a CEO dashboard, which is basically like my main tracker that has all of my business numbers on it. We've got the ad tracking dashboard, sales tracking, setter tracking, CS, PayPro lead tracking. We're about to make fulfillment tracking, and then we'll be pretty much done. Now, in terms of planning, like I said, I wanted to show you guys what that looks like. So we have got a few different things here. We have got a 10-year vision that has exactly what things should look like 10 years from now, a 5-year target, a 3-year plan to actually hit that target, in addition to where we should be at a year from now, etc. The plan for 2026 broken down quarter by quarter. Q1 plan right here, which as you can see, the closer the time period gets, the more in-depth the plan. And then finally, we have got monthly plans, and this is built out. We just need to fill in the weekly plan, and you can see again, this is the longest. The month will be the longest plan that we have. Weekly plan is going to be built out shortly before the new year starts. But since that all is done, it's about 7:38 right now. We are about to hop in the Corvette and go get some food. I'm thinking Chipotle is sounding good right now, so that is probably what we're gonna go get. I've been doing a good job actually of cooking and eating better foods that I cook. However, tonight I do not feel like cooking, and I do feel like getting Chipotle. It's a Sunday, so we are gonna make it happen. With that said, I will pick you guys back up in the Corvette. All right, we are in the C7, and as you guys probably just saw, there is currently a G82 M3 or G80 M3 that was parked right beside me on the other side of that Cybertruck. And that kind of reminded me, I am selling my car soon within the next few weeks, the C7. And I'm debating between 2 different cars to potentially pick up as a replacement. I'm debating a G82 M4 or a C8 Corvette Stingray. They're both around the same price range. They've both got their pros and cons. Let me know what you guys would personally pick, and we'll definitely have a new video with that coming out relatively soon as well. But with that said, we are going to get to driving, and I will probably film some clips for you guys as we go, and definitely pick you back up once we get home. And I love that in Austin, Texas, they have to have these little gates because there is lots of homeless people here which is different than Chicago and Miami. They don't normally actually have those on the parking garage. And I think the reason is because there's so many more homeless people here in Austin, surprisingly, or I guess not surprisingly, than Miami and Chicago. But I'm gonna put you guys down before I get in a wreck and pick you up shortly.
Yeah, I'm out there Brooklyn, down in Tribeca, right next to the Narrow. But I'll be home forever, I'm the new Sinatra. And since I made it here, I can make it anywhere. Yeah, they love me everywhere. I used to cop in Harlem, all of my Dominicanos right there on Broadway. Brought me back to that McDonald's, took it to my stash spot, 560 State Street. Catch me in the kitchen like the Simmons whipping pastry. Cruising down A Street, off-white Lexus, driving so slow. BK is from Texas, me, I'm out there Bed-Stuy, home of that boy Biggie. Now I live on Billboard, and I brought my boys with me. Say what up.
Alrighty, we have just got the Chipotle. I will probably not get any more great driving clips because I don't want my food to go all over the place, but we did get two pretty solid ones on the way here, so that should suffice. It's not too crazy of a car anyways, but yeah, we are headed back to the apartment now to eat some dinner and then lock in on getting a bit more work done for the night. And then I do tend to go to sleep relatively early, it seems, compared to a lot of the people in our space, agency, marketing, whatever you want to call it, space. I usually go to sleep anywhere from 9:30 to 10:30. And then wake up around 6:30 to 7-ish. I just find that is when I am able to be the most productive throughout the whole day, which is ultimately one of my biggest goals, is to maintain the most productivity that I possibly can, especially tomorrow, because Tuesday I will be flying to Charleston, South Carolina, my hometown, to visit the family for Christmas. So I want to make sure that I wrap up as much work as possible before then and really make sure that I get ahead, because I know that in Charleston I will not be able to get a ton of work done. Still, of course, some stuff here and there, but not much actual productive work. Austin, however, to give you guys a bit more insight into that as somebody who's lived in 4 cities in a year, Charleston, Chicago, Miami, and Austin is a pretty solid city. I like it more than Miami personally. Miami, I do not like the humidity, not a huge fan of the general environment there for whatever reason. There's a lot of homeless people in Miami as well. I know I said earlier in this video, obviously in Austin as well, but definitely a lot in Miami. And I don't like it being hot all year round. The weather is probably my biggest thing with Miami that I'm not a fan of. It's just the heat. As somebody who moved initially to Chicago, you can probably imagine that I am more of a fan of the cold. My plan in terms of a living situation right now is Austin in the winters and Chicago in the summers. So my lease here in Austin expires in June 6th. I'm planning to get a place in Chicago as well, potentially a bit earlier than when my lease ends. If I hit my Q1 revenue goal, then I'm gonna be getting a place in Chicago at the end of Q1, which is earlier, 2 months earlier than when my lease is up, but it's only like an extra 5 to 10K for those 2 months, depending on how expensive the rent is. And I definitely think that it's worth it to be able to be in Chicago as well as Austin. Chicago is 100% a superior city to me than Austin, but I do not want to be in a city that is negative degrees. I like the cold, but not that cold, if you know what I mean. Usually, to me, the best temperature would be 40 to 60 or 70. Really, 60 to 70 is like the peak temperature. So don't want to be in Chicago when it's that freezing, although again, it is a great city. Kind of just went off on a little tangent, but if any of you guys are at that point right now with your business where you have started to make decent money, maybe you're making 10 to 15K a month, which is how much I was first making when I moved out and went to Chicago, that's some insight for you. I would Airbnb Miami before you get a place there. Don't really think it's the spot, to be honest. And if you're looking for somewhere to lock in and really scale your business, I think Chicago and New York are the best two options. And then in the winter, as it gets cold, you can migrate somewhere like Austin or maybe like Miami if you want that vibe for a few months out of the year. Alrighty, we just finished Chipotle, took a quick shower, and we are about to lock back in for the last work block of the night. And some of you guys might be thinking, this is not what I expected. I thought you were gonna go out, party, do all this crazy stuff. Well, I'm here to tell you that is not the reality of running a 7-figure per year business at 19 years old. And while some people in the space do that, many do not. And if you want to scale past that level and get to 8 figures per year and beyond, there's certain things that you need to do and need to avoid. And that's one thing that you typically need to avoid. Sure, in moderation, maybe it's okay. But over time, let's say once a month you're going out, you're wasting a full day at that point when you're going and doing things that are going to make you less productive the next day. Over a 3-year span, that is a year worth of days that I would be ahead of somebody else who's going out and doing those other things. And that's really something that stops a lot of people, especially at the start, from becoming successful and finding what they want, is still going out and doing these same old things, thinking that working from a certain hour, maybe 8 to 7, is going to be enough. But at the start, it's not the reality. You have such a massive learning curve at the start of when you're trying to become successful with an online business that you have to work every hour that you can physically find possible. And that might mean for a year straight, literally working 10 to 13 hours per day, regardless of the day, regardless of if it's a weekend, because you have to learn so much stuff. And it's more the learning aspect, really, than what you're executing on or what you're getting done. And you can pull back if you want to as you scale up. I know a lot of people who've kind of plateaued around the 50K per month mark, which is where I was at a few months ago. And the reason is because they just kind of got comfortable, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to build something bigger, then you have to continue making those sacrifices, because to get from 70 to 85 to 90K a month up to $1 million a month, there's another huge learning curve, and you're going to get there way quicker if you commit every day to really doing your best to get over that learning curve, to execute on the needed tasks and build what you need to build to hit those $1 million months. So I'm going to lock back in. Again, this is not the most entertaining video, but it is the raw reality of what it takes to plan out and get from $1 million a year, $700,000 to $1 million a year, up to $1 million per month.